The sun wasn't even up when the sound of metal on wood shattered my sleep. It was 6:15 a.m., and from my bedroom window in Meadowbrook Estates, I saw a woman in a crisp black suit swinging a hammer at my father's prized vegetable garden. She was tearing through rows of heirloom tomatoes, shouting, "This is what happens when you defy HOA rules," as she crushed a vibrant brandywine tomato. My father, Henry Sullivan, 72, stood in his pajamas, watching 47 carefully nurtured plants ripped from the earth. His eyes held the steely glint I'd heard about from his 30-year FBI career. I'm James Sullivan, and this is the true story of how my retired FBI agent father took down the most ruthless HOA president Tampa, Florida, had ever seen. 3 months earlier, Dad moved into my home in Meadowbrook Estates, a planned community with HOA rules tighter than a bank vault. After decades chasing white-collar criminals, he wasn't one to sit idle. Instead, he poured his energy into a garden that was nothing short of a masterpiece: 47 varieties of heirloom tomatoes, a custom drip irrigation system, and a compost setup that turned scraps into fertile soil. Neighbors adored it. Kids visited after school, and Mrs. Nguyen, a Vietnamese grandmother, even shared her family's daikon seeds. The garden wasn't just plants, it was a symbol of community. Everyone loved it except Linda Carver, the 51-year-old HOA president. Linda, with her sharp blonde bob and clipboard, ruled Meadowbrook like a dictator. A former realtor, she'd lost everything after a business partner embezzled client funds, followed by 2 messy divorces. The HOA became her kingdom, where she enforced absurd rules: mailboxes painted Meadowbrook taupe, lawns no taller than 2.5 inches, and decorations needing months of approval. Dad's garden, thriving and uniting neighbors, threatened her control. What Linda didn't know was that Dad wasn't just a retiree. He'd been quietly consulting for the FBI, investigating HOA financial irregularities across Central Florida. The morning Linda destroyed the garden was her fatal mistake. As she waved her hammer, screaming about her authority, Dad calmly photographed the damage, his movements precise, like he was back at a crime scene. "James, get every angle," he said, eyes locked on Linda. When her deputy protested, I pointed out we were on public property, legally recording. Linda, drunk on power, sneered, "You think cameras scare me? I've dealt with worse than an old man and his nosy son." Dad's response was chilling. "Ma'am, people who destroy property usually have bigger secrets." He then called Agent Emily Tran, his FBI contact, on speaker. "Emily, it's Henry Sullivan. I think we've got our case." The call silenced Linda's crew. Her deputy, Susan Reed, backed away, and another accomplice vanished. Agent Tran confirmed the FBI was tracking similar HOA fraud cases statewide. Linda stammered, "This doesn't prove anything," but Dad's smile was that of a hunter closing in. For 2 weeks, he played the subdued retiree, letting Linda think she'd won. She grew sloppy, posting smug Facebook updates about cleaning up troublemakers and planting flowers in the garden's place flowers that died in days, a fitting symbol of her failure. Behind the scenes, Dad and Agent Tran built a federal case. They uncovered fake invoices, mystery payments, and $75,000 in embezzled funds. I interviewed neighbors, revealing Linda's reign of terror: fines for minor infractions, threats over kids' toys, and denied permits for home businesses. Mrs. Nguyen, with her accounting background, provided damning evidence: vendor payments for work never done, fees siphoned to unknown accounts. Linda's victory lap was her undoing. Her social media boasts and a community meeting where she bragged about enforcement gave the FBI a clear picture of her authoritarian mindset. Linda's desperation peaked when she tried to frame Susan for the fraud, claiming her deputy handled all finances. But Susan, coerced for years, had kept records of every order Linda gave. Offered immunity, she handed over emails and recordings, exposing Linda's scheme. Then came Linda's false restraining order, accusing Dad of stalking. It backfired spectacularly, giving the FBI grounds to escalate. The final blow was her 911 call, claiming Dad was an armed, unstable threat near the HOA office. She didn't know he was there with Agent Tran, reviewing evidence. When police arrived, expecting chaos, they found Dad calmly discussing security cameras with Tran. He flashed his FBI consultant badge, and Tran explained the investigation. Linda stormed in, demanding Dad's arrest, only to hear Tran read her Miranda rights for filing a false report. As charges piled up: embezzlement, wire fraud, mail fraud. Linda slipped on tomato seeds from the garden's ruins, falling into the mud. My live stream of the arrest went viral, hitting 50,000 views in hours. Neighbors cheered, and Mrs. Nguyen handed out FBI appreciation cookies, sparking an internet meme. The investigation revealed Linda was part of a statewide HOA fraud network, stealing $1.2 million across 7 communities. Her gambling addiction, online poker, casinos, sports betting drove her theft. Fake companies laundered HOA funds to feed her habit. Susan's evidence cracked the network's encrypted communications, leading to 23 convictions. Linda pleaded guilty to 23 charges, receiving 5 years in prison, full restitution, and a court-ordered gardening program to teach her responsibility. Her assets, Mercedes, jewelry, vacation home, were seized to repay victims. Meadowbrook transformed. An emergency election ousted the HOA board, and Mrs. Nguyen became president, implementing transparent governance. Property values rose 15%, and a new community garden bloomed where Linda's destruction began. The annual Henry Sullivan Tomato Festival raised funds to fight HOA abuse nationwide. Dad joined the FBI full-time as an HOA fraud specialist, and my YouTube channel, with 800,000 subscribers, sparked a documentary series exposing community corruption. Justice wasn't about revenge, Dad said. It was about ensuring no one else suffered. Meadowbrook became a model of democratic cooperation, with monthly town halls and open financial records. Florida passed 47 new laws to curb HOA abuse, and our story inspired a national push for reform. As we worked in the garden, now feeding dozens of families, Dad reflected, bullies are like weeds. Good people, working together, can root them out and grow something better. This story isn't just ours, it's a call to action. Have you faced bullies or injustice in your community? Share your thoughts below, especially on how we confront abuse without resorting to violence. Take a stand, voice your perspective, and let's spark a conversation about justice. Subscribe to follow more stories of ordinary people fighting for what's right.